Bonjour. So I hope you're ready for 6 of the best this week from this week's delivery of comics. Let's get right into it. Red Goblin, issue 1. Really enjoyed that. Really nice start. Really nice introduction to a character if you hadn't picked up any of the other Spidey books, and obviously that's a carry on from, you know, the setup of Dark Web, and even previous to that, you know what Marvel's like, and in DC. But Amazing Spider-Man, Terry and Rachel Dodson back at what they do best. I could not ignore that. The Avengers War Across Time. Again, I know I've done issue 1, but issue 2, there's so much. I don't know. There's so much fun to be had in this book because they're going for that 60s feel. That I'm just really enjoying it. Vader. This was a great issue. This is a great Star Wars book. It really is. The art and the storyline, and it's got enough nostalgia bait in it to keep every Star Wars fan happy, as far as I'm concerned. Daredevil. This is really heating up. This is how I like the crossover done, in a way. This and Punisher, and it's been building up and it's been building up. And I suppose it helps that I've been buying both titles. But where they're going with this is just absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. And do you know what? Comic of the week. I'm sorry, guys, but it just is. When I weigh it up against the others, it just is, and it's because I like the classic takes on the classic characters, which this is, but it's like modern. There's nothing. It's not like the Avengers Across Time, where they're going full on with a little bit of cheesy fun, like from the 60s. I just like it done straight, but that's just the way I am, because what I am noticing is there is a little, like with Dark Web, the Spidey books. Now this week, where you've got the Black Cat in Amazing Spider-Man, that is a light-hearted story. Now I'm hoping that is a 2-issue break in, you know, kind of a little sorbet refresher after Dark Web. But to be perfectly honest, I didn't think Dark Web was a heavy hitter. And I know I said it in one of my past reviews. I just didn't think it was a heavy hitter. It was very, I don't know, it was very, there were no high stakes. So I kind of do like the high stakes, and I like the conflicts. I like adult conflicts, and I like consequences in my comics. Not all the time, obviously you do need that little break. So with Amazing Spider-Man, I am prepared to give it a chance, because after Dark Web being a little bit soppy, and now you've got this, and obviously it's Terry and Rachel Dodson, and come on Black Cat, come on, in Amazing Spider-Man, but there's only so far you can go. I mean, just one other quick comment. This Lazarus Planet from DC this week, which I haven't mentioned. I haven't mentioned it because the stories in here, apart from one about the Vigil, a new superhero team, everything's being done in such a light-hearted way that it's annoying, because it's just. I'm finding it a little bit annoying now, but that's why I choose 6 the best. To kind of but I just thought I'd just give you a little bit of a commentary on where I'm at, and maybe if anyone was wondering why I go for like the heavier side of books, is because I like it. I like them all done straight and dramatic, high octane stuff, whether it's action or not. But if people are going to get hurt, I want to see people trying to avoid getting hurt. You know, if Daredevil's in a story, I want to see him avoiding getting hurt by a villain, or getting one over on him or whatever it is, or combining with Elektra and doing whatever needs to be done to defeating the villain. I don't want it to be light-hearted and quiptastic all the time. So anyway, let's get into it after the scroll. Right, let's go. Let's get right into it. Red Goblin. Now, I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed it. I'm up for a good Spider-Man story. Always have been. Nice issue 1. I don't know much of the backstory on this character. Obviously, he's been knocking about here and there. This is the grandson of Norman Osborn. Right. So Norman then having legacy and all this. And this is kind of like a bit of your origin story, but just a nice, this is my introduction to this character. Love it. Great art job. Sorry guys, Jan Bazaldua, Alex Packnadell. This was a good story. This was just a great issue 1. You hadn't, what I like about it, is that you don't have to have picked up every single Spider-Man comic or graphic novel from the past 5 years to get the story. They just bring it in nicely. They give you some references to what's gone on in the past. That is fine. Almost like the old-fashioned Marvel style writing. Lovely splash page. Just a really good art job. I was just nicely impressive. Just a nice page turner, this story. Action packed. It's what I pick up a Spidey book for. It's got the symbiote stuff in it, and I know they're kind of stretching that symbiote stuff out now. Nevertheless, they've done it in a nice way. They've done it in a very, very enjoyable way. And again, it's not like I said in my introduction. It's not too light-hearted. Yeah, there are some moments in it, but they're usually moments of tenderness or friendship. And nevertheless, how they do old Norman Osborn, his granddad. I've just really enjoyed it. Even the have the darker tone that you're suddenly in from this fight with the Goblin army, whatever they're called, and then back into the darkness of like the flashback to his granddad, and when his dad dies, and his granddad taking him under his wing. It's really nice how they've done it. Really nice, and they could have made this quip-tastic with the age of the kid. Yeah, who's the Red Goblin? They could have really made this a light-hearted little kid, dismal minus little romp, but they didn't. Even this old stuff that yes, we've seen it a million times before, but it just works. One panel. It just works. It grounds us, and it's an issue 1, and we just need enough information. We've had our fight scene. They're introducing us to the villain that I assume is going to be, this first arc, and really did enjoy it. I just really did. It's just a solid Spidey book for me. Like this. This is all. This is nothing groundbreaking, but within this story, it's just very, very, very nicely done, like a new strange of symbiotes. They're kind of talking about, and it doesn't hold back. It's quite dark. Some of the dialogue is quite dark. In this bit with his mum, and he apologises afterwards, but he said it. He said it. It's out there. So yeah, really did enjoy this stuff. This is classic stuff. Enough to riff from the past, and really intrigued to see where they go with the Osborn army or the Goblin army, whatever they call it, the Goblin Nation, I think they call it. Yeah, very, very nice, very nice. And then they introduce, in fact I won't turn that last page and leave something for you guys. If I haven't recommended this enough by now, beautiful cover as well by Lee In-hyuk, sorry. Glorious cover. That's how again, I know I say it every week, but that's how you sell a comic. So, to what I consider to be the main Spider-Man book. Now, this has been wavering lately. and look, the legacy numbering is 913. I must have jumped onto it when it was just in double figures, guys. So I've read a lot of Spider-Man over the years, and recently it has not been a stellar year. It's been a stellar year because in some of the issues for John Romita Jr.'s artwork, which I know not everyone loves, but I do. But what I do love about this issue, and next issue I think it's going to be the same, is Terry Dodson on the artwork, on the drawing, Rachel Dodson on the inks, and Terry on the colouring. And I know they have this Adam Hughes-ish kind of feel to their artwork, but I've always loved that. And I don't know if anyone remembers that Black Cat mini-series they'd done, the Dodsons, and this is just, I love their take on the Black Cat, I just do. And yes, this is a little light-hearted romp. It's like a weekend away that they plan. And it's, you know, it's so Adam Hughesy, some of their stuff, and with the colouring as well. But like I say, I don't mind that. What I have noticed though is that they've got a bit looser with their style. Now I don't know if this is Terry on the pencils or Rachel on the inking. I'm not saying that I like it. You can, because you can still see it's the Dodson couple, but yeah, they're going somewhere with their artwork. You know, they have loosened it up. I think any looser and they would lose their, you know, their style. But yeah, for now, I'm liking it completely. And it is a light-hearted thing. They meet MJ and her new husband at this retreat that they've gone to, that Felicia takes Peter to. So you know, that's the setup of this issue. Yeah, yes, guys. Anyway, they feel a tremor in the ground, or you know, Peter does. Off they go. You know, this is what we want. So off to battle they go. Rabbit is being chased by the rest of the Sinister Six. Here we are. All our usual suspects. Bit of action. But like I say, I don't mind this as a little filler. They go to a party where they kind of finagle their way into this party. It's what it sounds like. It's not great, but for 2 issues of Rachel Dodson and Terry Dodson, I'm kind of putting up with it. But the Spidey books have really gone this soppy way recently, and yeah, it's you can't carry on like this, I don't think. Otherwise, see, they make a point of these two going to the retreat, the spa retreat, and seeing MJ and her new husband, and it being awkward. But unless the groundwork to that storyline has been laid over the years, and it's a serious storyline, the joke lands flat, doesn't it? I mean, that's pretty dire consequences for the person involved. But other than that, it's a flimsy, you know. And you've got this slot. It's a filler. But I just hope. But this was a good read. Like, I did enjoy it. So if it's going to be a little bit of a 2-issue break, I mean, I don't know how they can stretch this out over 6 issues to do a graphic novel of it all. But yeah, just look, wonderful artwork. Just great. And John Romita Jr. cover as a package. This is great. I think I'm talking about it kind of. Please, with Amazing Spider-Man, can't we get it back to something a little bit more serious? And maybe with the Spider-Man title, with Bagley, you know, do all your silly stuff in that. Like, we can't have the silly stuff everywhere across all the titles. And having said that, this is, and I know I did do issue 1 of this, but with Alan Davis's artwork, his artwork is sublime. And when he's doing superheroes, it's even better. And when he's doing the classic superheroes, you know, mostly all these are Kirby designs. You know, maybe it's my age, but I just love this stuff. Again, it's a bit light-hearted. Yeah, it is very light-hearted actually, but it's set that way, and I think they've kind of got me. As much as I'm moaning and groaning, aren't I, about consequences and stuff, but they actually fail in this issue in their mission. So that in and of itself, you know, you've still got Wasp telling the girls in this, you know, in the crowd that all, you know, Thor's really hunky, you know, all that stuff that they did back in the 60s, early 70s, with the postman of the Baxter building leaving his mail so it falls over onto Doctor Doom's time machine. They couldn't get to work. And Sindri, the Dwarf King, comes through, you know, and he thinks it's Thor that set him up. You know, it's a classic. It's a classic 60s Marvel set piece. So, alright, you know, I like Peter Parker turns up, look, he's got to take a couple of snaps, look. He's debating whether to get involved, but then the Avengers turn up, so he hasn't got to bother. So, yeah, look, he runs off, you know. Maybe if I can make it to the Bugle fast, he can get a bonus from Jonah. Oh, bless. But I don't know how this would land. I mean, where I'm saying about the light-hearted touch and everything being soppy, see, I'm seeing the nod back to the 60s soppiness of some of this stuff. You know, look what Alan Davis has done here with the mask. You know, that shouldn't be moving, but it has. He's done eyes instead of holes in the mask, and here. I've only just noticed that, actually, which is a bit of a cheat. And again, I don't know whether this is appealing to the modern audience without me even thinking about it, because it does seem as if everyone likes the soppy stuff at the moment, and quips, and, you know, don't know. But I still like this for the romp that it is, the Silver Age, the nod to the Silver Age. I'm enjoying it. So, from that stuff, let's get into some right, good, serious stuff. Look at that for a cover. Beautiful cover. I know I've done a whole video on Star Wars stuff, on the modern Star Wars comics, so go over and then check that out for issue 1, little detailed look at it. But yeah, what a beautiful cover. And these, again, I will repeat myself by saying, all of these guys, you know, here's Lucasfilm, here's Marvel stuff, you know, writer, artist, colorist, letterer. They're all working at great stories with the characters we love, and I am absolutely getting my Star Wars fix from this lot. I really am. And if you aren't picking up on where they're going, you know, this is how it should have been. And you know who's in a monologue this is, not how it was. Oh, it's great stuff. And then we're into the storyline they're telling, and it's Padme's handmaidens. They've done a storyline where Vader is trying to twist Padme's handmaidens. They've obviously been after him, but he's trying to get them to combine forces with him, and yeah, just try and twist them into onto, you know, to the dark side. And you don't know whether he's really kind of just using them as pawns and he's going to do away with them, or whether he genuinely is atoning for the way he treated Padme. We just don't know that yet. It's great, just great stuff. You know, this is what you want in a Vader comic. Look, but then the handmaidens go to town on all the you know, on the battle droid Mark 1s, whatever they were. This is great artwork and colouring. Nice, very nice. And then we're back to, you know, this is the one they've got to rescue. This is the villain of the story, or, you know, you say villain, but this is the antagonist of the story, because obviously we're following the villain and how they're making Vader work as not murdered. Look at this. We would like to say we just through the droid carrier. Love it. Action-packed issue, and this is this not how we want to see Vader? It is for me, and he's just done the dirty on him again for the second time in this storyline on the handmaidens, who are just you know, just as they're getting sucked in, he kind of does a dirty on them, you know, because he's trying to say, because that's their friend, colleague, you know, that they're trying to rescue, and he's saying, well, yeah, join me, and he's kind of dumping them and doing it himself, following his own agenda, his own path. But even then, you think, right, it's amazing Vader, you know, he's just cut the hole through the thing. But, you know, this isn't a villain that's going to be easily walked over. It's not, you know, it's not silly. He knows Vader's coming. Look, and you've got all these electrocuting him. It's great. But unwittingly, in a way, because they're on the same page, rescuing their mate, they kind of save him in a way from that, what you just saw. So, and then back to the flashback. Just a great book. A great book. And it ends like, you know, and you know me. And they're kind of trying to tell her no, because he's just rescued her. And they're kind of saying, no, don't fall for it, don't fall for it. But, oh, look, you can't beat a bit of Vader. You can't. Anyway, great comic. Just a bit greater than that is this one. Oh, this run of Daredevil is one of the best, one of the most intriguing. It isn't the Daredevil I've come to know and love, and this isn't the Punisher I've come to know and love. But what these guys are doing with these two characters at the moment, I'm absolutely loving. And they're kind of doing this crossover, obviously, with these two characters that are kind of a bit of a yin and a yang. And, you know, Elektra's involved, and a whole host of other characters. You know, Styx appears, and Frank Castle's wife is resurrected in the Punisher. And this is just a battle issue. This is a battle royale in the rain, with the Hand conjuring up a dragon as well, and just absolutely loved it. Look at this artwork. It is great stuff. It's dramatic stuff. It's the new Punisher. I know I wouldn't want to see this forevermore. I wouldn't want to see Frank Castle changed into this forever. And I know there are naysayers saying, look what they've done with Punisher, and Daredevil's got a beard now, and he's married to Elektra, and she dresses up like him, so it's a female Daredevil. Don't listen to any of that crap. It's total crap. These have been two great storylines. If you love the characters, he's still well, in a way, he's more murderous than ever, and that's why Daredevil's coming after him with Elektra. You know, they've got Stick involved, because there's a character called Akka here who's on the, you know, the Hand side, and no, it's just it all kicks off from there. You know, a little bit of banter during the fight, but not too much. You know, just a classic good versus evil. Oh, Stegron's involved as well. Not too much though. You know, I haven't got him involved, I suppose, because they've got a dragon, and it's proper kicking off. Just an action-packed issue. We needed it because it's been very cerebral, especially Daredevil. Not so much Punisher. Punisher has been more visceral, but Daredevil has certainly been a very, very cerebral read. And it kind of needed this to kick off. It needed to resolve the build-up, the tension in what they've been kind of talking about and alluding to. So it did need it. You know, and if you think Punisher and Daredevil suck now, you know, I don't know what else I need to show people. To show you that it isn't. It is a story arc, yes. The Punisher hasn't got his little skull logo on his chest, no. But is he still vicious, and is he still a murderer? Yes, he is. Is he still off his nut? Yes, he is. Elektra is still awesome. You know, she's pitted up against this Akka character, and kind of doesn't fare well. Oh, there's old Matthew, look, there's old Daredevil on the back of the dragon. It's all different stuff, don't get me wrong. You know, some of the best Daredevil stuff I like is on street level. And this clearly isn't, but it's been a real wild ride. And again, like they did with Punisher, they're leading into these guys sitting up and taking notice, going, hold on a minute, what's going on here? Daredevil needs to be stopped. And that's from Spider-Man. So, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I like to see. This is the high stakes stuff. This is consequences. This isn't Captain America making a silly quip, or Tony Stark making a silly quip, or even Spider-Man. He probably will, in this further storyline, make a silly quip, because that's what Peter Parker does, his character. But the stakes, the consequences of their actions are cheapened if we keep making them light-hearted. We can't keep doing it, otherwise it loses any resonance. That is just pipped to the post for the comic of the week by this one. Yeah, I know I'm doing it again, but I can't not do it, because this is such a classical take by Mark Silvestri. Has done. It's a bit like when Jim Lee come back and burst back on the scene and done Hush, and it was kind of like a different style to his artwork, a different flavour. Silvestri's come back, and this is such an interesting and intriguing story that he's crafted here, with the title of the comic being The Dynamic Duo, meaning him and the Joker. That I just think is superb. Look, I just think it's superb. And if you're not picking this book up by now, then you're missing out. But it will no doubt be of course it's going to be a graphic novel. Poor old Harley, look, down in the pit. And then the story takes place on the Gotham Bullet, and there's a mystery afoot that the two of them have got to solve, and they've got a riddle, in a way. Not quite a riddle, it's not the Riddler, but they have got a riddle to solve, and it's another wedding, and they've got to do so, a bit like the film Speed, where they had to keep the bus above 50 kilometres an hour, whatever it is. They've got to reduce the weight of this train, and Batman's got to work his way through it. But towards the end of the story, Joker does something that Batman don't approve of, but it was in the name of the mission. Like, really working these two characters well, that kind of tiny bit of detail right at the end of the story. This, and again, a lightness of touch with the Catwoman character and Nightwing, just for one page. This was a beautiful way of handling these two characters, and it did make. She starts off calling him Buttwing, and he says, like, you got me name wrong, and she says something like, well, that was the view I had, like, diving down into this tunnel, what can I say? And then she calls him Night Cheeks. I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Because it was very, very within her character to do that kind of stuff. And then back to the serious stuff. I mean, I don't mind that kind of light in the darkness of this, but what a classic take on Batman and Joker. What a classic take this is. Bit of swearing, but it's so very, very cool, and Silvestri knows how to draw a superhero, does he not? Look at stuff like this. It can't be a bit of Batman in a graveyard or in the Batcave. Joker's back, where he belongs in his, and I don't think I've done this before. I have forgot. I may have done it for issue 1, but just look how gorgeous his artwork is in black and white. I mean, that is gorgeous stuff in black and white. Just look at that. I'd love to see a whole black and white edition of this. I really would. It's lovely. It's just beautiful stuff. Look at that. Perspective spot on. This upside down stuff. Harley, with her paper hat, you know, it's perfect. Then to a silhouette, then from behind, then from above, and then, you know, whoever it is that's talking to her, obviously you can't see the speech. That is what you call this is what you call sequential art. 100% love it. And that is, sorry guys if I do apologise that I've done it before and used this as comic of the week, but if it's of any consolation, Daredevil, and I think I made Daredevil comic of the week, but I can't help it if these comics keep delivering. I really just can't help it. Now, cover of the week, whilst these two are awesome comics, now cover of the week, I've got to say, this, I think it's got to be Red Goblin, but this Darth Vader comic, I think that latest Darth Vader, but I think it's got to be Red Goblin. There is only one other cover that I thought was awesome, which my mate Paul would disown me if I didn't mention it. is Van Helsing, and it's a decent comic, guys, by the way. It's a decent comic, but obviously I like fitting in 6 of the absolutely most fantastic. But what I will say is that is an also ran to get into my top 6. Obviously there's other stuff that's come out this week. The only other also ran to get in really is Little Monsters, which continues to be great. But I will leave it with the best cover of the week and the runner-up, and I will bid everyone adios.